For more on how Modi's been received so far and what his term in office might look like, we're joined in Boston by Dhruva Jaishankar. He's a Transatlantic Fellow with the Asia program of the German Marshall Fund, which aims to strengthen transatlantic cooperation on global challenges. Dhruva, thanks so much for joining us. What kind of a shift are we likely to see? I mean, what kind of leader does he represent for India?
Thank you for having me. Modi is, in some ways, a very different prime minister from any that have preceded him. For one, he is young. He is the first Indian prime minister born after India became independent in 1947. So in Indian political terms, he's quite young. He's a self-made man. He's somebody who always talks about coming up from very modest beginnings and rising to positions of power. He's also from the provinces. This year was the first time, not only was he elected prime minister, but it was the first time he was elected as a member of parliament in Delhi. So he's really somebody who comes from outside the Delhi political elite. And I think most importantly, he's somebody who came in with a very clear vision of what he wanted for India. He came with a story where he basically promised the people of India better governance. He promised growth. He promised jobs. And I think that story inspired a lot of people to come out in support of him. So I think these things really set him apart from previous governments.
What about major policy changes? For example, women's rights in light of some of these high-profile rape cases. Are we likely to see any changes there?
So as your reporter mentioned, women's rights was something that was a major theme of his during the Independence Day speech on August 15th. What you've seen now is him articulating very strong positions on specific issues. We know what his platform is in that sense. We know what his goals are. In addition to women's empowerment, these include agriculture productivity, green energy, particularly solar energy investments, better sanitation, which was another big theme of his Independence Day speech, and ultimately manufacturing, making India into a manufacturing superpower. So these are all elements of the kind of vision he has set out for India. Now, specific policies to actually reach those objectives, that's something that is still he is still learning in some ways. He's been a prime minister for less than 100 days. He's been going around to various ministries trying to figure out how the central government functions, and he's spoken about this. So he's still, as he sees, in the learning phase, and really what we should expect is in the next year a lot of that vision to be translated into specific policies.
One of the things he's talked about is doing away with India's planning commission. Can you talk to us about the significance of this for our international audience who might not be familiar with it? How big a change would that be?
In some ways, it marks a very significant development. The Planning Commission is something that has been around in India since independence, effectively. It is, in some ways, a legacy of India's what was called a mixed economy. It had characteristics of socialism and free markets. And so it was basically a mechanism of India's central plan, a centrally planned economy. In his Independence Day speech, he basically said that he wanted to do away with it. He wants to replace it with a new organization. And this is quite a significant step because what he plans on doing really is empowering the individual states of India. And the Planning Commission in some ways was a very federally, centrally powerful body. It effectively gave revenue to the states. It was a means of giving revenue to states. And so by doing away with that, he's really empowering the states. And this is part of, again, a step in his vision for India to become more of a manufacturing superpower.
Dhruva Jaishankar joining us from Boston. Thanks so much.